Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Francesco Caruglieri from Fattoria di Montemaggio. As always, this is the Wine Thursday. We're coming back with a live stream in English. Last week was in Italian, and we had the honor, the pleasure to have Irina Romanov, the sommelier Irina Romanov, actually, as she liked to say, a digital sommelier, Irina Romanov. We had a wonderful conversation about her, of course, career, her profession, about this kind of new figure of a sommelier 2.0, sommelier, that starting also to work in the world of digital, and was really, really amazing. But of course, today we're coming back with English. Today it will be a wine discussion, of course, that it's just oriented on wine. But next week we are coming back with another Q&A. I don't want to tell you who it will be, the new, of course, person that we're going to interview. It will be a huge surprise, I promise you, but it will be super, super, super interesting. Today we're going to cover a topic that we actually kind of like discussed in the past, and it was pretty, in my opinion, pretty, I would say important as a topic, especially if you're like me, a wine lover, and if you, like to buy a lot of wine. It's always important to understand what kind of wine you're buying, first of all, and second, what kind of cork they use for that specific wine. Nowadays we have a lot of modern option to the wooden cork, to the classic cork that we always used, and it's really amazing to see how much the science, the progress, did for enology, and also the sommelier, also and the wine aging in itself, and it's really, really important to understand what kind of option we have and what kind of different ideas are behind those kind of options. So first of all, I would say that we can summarize the different options that we have in a few different categories. We have, of course, the silicone cork, the plastic cork, which I will tell you in a minute what kind of problematic can have. We have the stelvin, the screw cap, and we have the glass cork. So three category, at least from my point of view. But let's try now to be focused on the difference between stelvin, so screw cap, aluminum cap, inox cap, versus the typical wooden cork. I would like to tell you about a little experiment that some enologists and some sommelier did in the last few years, and they tried, of course, to observe how much is different an aging in a bottle that, of course, it's corked. So there's a wooden cork versus an aging in a bottle that use the stelvin. So it's very important to be very scientific when we judge those kind of option, because it's too easy sometimes to be conservative and be attached to the tradition and say, okay, I'm very romantic, I have this very romantic vision, I want to have the wooden cork. When it comes about my bottle of wine, I also think about it, when I'm out in a fancy restaurant, and with my friends, my fiance, whatever, my family. It's lovely to have a nice wooden cork, and also hear the pop. I don't know how to describe that kind of sound. It's really, 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 really nice, and it's very romantic. Also, kind of a gesture. The opening of the bottle with the wooden cork. But there are good alternatives, and that have a very scientific value behind. And so it's very important. So recent studies conducted worldwide, So that's very important to clarify. By wine expert, enologists, and sommelier have attempted to trace the evolution inside the bottle. And I like to underline the fact that I use the word evolution, not aging. Actually, what is happening when the wine is, technically aging in the bottle is more like, again, the last step of the evolution of the wine. And it's more like creating a finesse for the wine. Everything that you develop in the aging in the wood will be, make it a little bit better, and everything will be well integrated at that point. That's the reason why in Italian, we don't say aging in the bottle, we don't say invecchiamento in bottiglia, we say affinamento, to create a finesse for the wine inside the bottle. Sorry for the very small parenthesis, but it's very important to understand what kind of terms we really want to use. And so, coming back to the argument, the experiment was based on precise guidelines. So same grape variety was used. The same type of choice were made in the cellar during fermentation and vinification. So the wines were, created, produced with the same kind of path, the same kind of enological path. So the only difference is it was that few bottles were, corked with wooden cork. The others were, corked using a different type of closure. They use the screw cap, the stelvin. So what did they wanted to observe? It's very simple. They wanted to test whether the same product would age in different ways with different type of corks, which this is probably the biggest question that we all have when it comes about, especially these two type of cork, because wooden cork, it's again the symbol of class and style and elegant, so in a super elegant solution. The stelvin, it's always seen like, the devil, I would say. So cork obviously creates certain problems in some cases. We should mention that what is known as contamination due to a fungus called Armillaria mellea, commonly known as TCA, which is now fortunately in the order of 1% worldwide. We need to say that only a few years ago we were in the order of 3%. So you can see how much the extra checks that we do. I mean, the company that produce wooden corks makes create an amazing resolution for the wine, amazing solution for final solution almost for this kind of fungus. They do this very, very strict checks and very strict control that are almost completely avoiding this kind of problematic fungus. Still the 1%, which is anyway important as a number. Of course, today is the most expensive cork, as I told you, used for the most valuable wines are checked one by one using larger technology. So their reliability, I would say, is 100%. But again, still sometimes some kind of problematic. Anyway, in the experiment, they examined it. It was observed that after 2-3 years of storage in a bottle, the closure with the cork connoted this kind of like a sense of honey, while greater freshness and better acidity was the most prominent quality of the wine that it was aged in the bottle that were sealed with the screw cap. So that's the beauty, that this kind of like aromatic pattern that change quite a lot. In the sealed bottle with the screw cap, it was more fresh, good acidity, versus the wooden cork bottle that were more like honeys and also wood kind of aromas. We should notice also foreign markets have been increasing asking for scraps or again stelvins, uh, so that in Italy too we will have to get used this type of closure, leaving behind the prejudice that you know the stelvin brings with them. I mean, most of the time we need to say that we think that stelvin is an inferior quality. You know, that's something that is so important to be understood. We cannot generalize too much. We cannot say, oh, absolutely, the stelvin is the worst thing. Absolutely, it's technically amazing. It's technically okay. Can really prevent a lot of problematic, especially, you're investing money when you buy wine. I mean, I'm not talking about wine investment. I'm talking about wines that you're buying, as a real investment. I'm just saying that when you buy some kind of product, um, they're product with such a high value for you, like wine, you want that everything you know should be like perfect. And that's something in my opinion is really, really so important. Everything should be perfect, everything should be amazing. And of course, it's if the stelvin can can brings to you more quality, well, it could be probably the best option that you can have. But of course, even all the extra checks that now, of course, the good quality producers of wooden corks are doing are anyway giving a lot of satisfaction in terms of the result. And the producer, of course, are always, I mean, 99% of the case, very, very, very happy about it. And also there are some disciplinary like Chianti Classico that not allowed, they're not allowing the use of stelvin. Anyway, let's see also very quickly what kind of alternative we also have. We said before we have the, the glass cork. Glass cork, it's something that we use at the Fattoria di Montemaggio. We use for Rosé di Montemaggio and Chardonnay. Glass cork, I would say it's a very elegant solution. And it's the very good compromise, a very good compromise between modernity and tradition. So what I mean by it, I mean that anyway, the wine, it's not sealed completely. Like with, for example, I don't know, the silicone cap that I will describe you in a minute. And just a tiny, tiny little percentage of air, oxygen will pass inside wine, and this will allow the wine to breathe a little bit, to evolve, to mature. But anyway, it will be a super controlled kind of oxygenation passage, and it will be very well regulated. So especially for wines that are not that capable of a longer aging, let's think about you know the majority of white wines and rosé wines that are around. Well, that could be an amazing solution. From the point of view of the development, probably we're more closer to the idea of like a stelvin that it will maintain very great acidity, very beautiful freshness. So now, what about the silicone cork? Silicone cork, it's considered most of the time an inferior quality, and there's a reason. Silicone cork, it will not allow an evolution in your bottle. Your bottle will be the same forever. Like a bottle of Coca-Cola, bottle of Coca-Cola will never change, will be the same forever. It's the same kind of thing with a silicone cork. And the worst thing about a silicone cork that I need to admit, and this is the worst nightmare of every sommelier I ever met, literally every sommelier I ever met, is that when you age a wine that has the silicone cork, the plastic cork, you have a passage of microplastic from the actual silicone cork into the wine. And then, of course, I mean, that will be a disaster for your wine. It will be, I mean, it really, really, really will really kill the wine. So it's never a good idea to age a wine with the silicone cork. I mean, it's not designed for that. It's not designed for those kind of agings. And my idea is that, it will, in this case, we are in front of an inferior quality kind of closure. So again, I would say the best solution that you have now, that you have now available are wooden cork, of course, stelvin, and glass cork. So again, glass cork, it's, and especially for white and rosé, it's super elegant solution. Will allow us a little bit of oxygenation, and your wine will evolve. Will you will create anyway a finesse through the years. So that's a very helpful tool. We have a comment. Let me just check. Valeria, the owner of Montemaggio, send a comment. Ciao, Valeria. I hope that everything is good, and thank you so much for the comment. So, of course, now I would like also to let you see the different option. We have also different option in terms of, the different type of wooden cork, different type of wooden closure. Let me just actually, thanks to Quattro Calici for this beautiful infographic. By the way, this is the stelvin. Again, I know that for the majority of people it looks a bit ugly, but it's really perfect. I mean, from the scientific point of view, it's really good, a good solution. But of course, I mean, I really understand it in general. As I said before, pardon me, the finesse and the beauty of the wooden cork is unbeatable. This is a plastic silicone cork, and again, absolutely not good for aging process. This is kind of like a cross in between the idea of like a typical wooden cork and silicone cork. What I mean by this, I mean that in the middle part, this is made probably from like a recycled wooden cork, and the top and the bottom are plastic, are silicone. And this is even worse because when you age wine with this type of solution, you may have, for whatever reason, like increasing in terms of temperature when you keep a wine in a cellar or in a place that is not that good, and so on. This kind of little circular piece of silicone can be can fall down into your wine, and that's a disaster, especially when you open it just right in front of a client, a customer. Sorry, it would be very awful as a situation. These are, anyway, again, probably the most elegant ideas of cork. Then, of course, there's a typical spumante kind of cork. Again, for spumante, you're usually going to find wooden corks in general. Anyway, I hope, of course, this information were helpful for all of you, and that of course you will be able now to choose a little bit better also the wine that of course you want to have of course at your place, and then eventually also the wine that you want to age. Because again, the idea is that you can age certain wine, but you need to have, first of all, the proper environment to do that, second, the proper tool. And I consider also the cork, the closure that you use, of course, to close the wine, a tool for the aging. I mean, a good cork will prevent your wine, will prevent some problematic for your wine, and it will allow to your wine to age for a very long time. In some cases, of course, I mean, not all the wine are good for aging process. By the way, we have a very interesting YouTube video that I made a couple of weeks ago in Montemaggio, and there I was explaining how you can judge the possibility of the wine to age or not. How can you understand if a wine is capable of a longer aging process or if it's not? And it's all about persistency. And the longer usually a wine will stay into your mouth, the more it will be probably capable to age. And of course, younger wine anyway are a little bit shorter compared to an older wine. But generally speaking, if a young wine has good persistency, that's the real deal. That's a sign that specific wine can really age for a longer period of time. And then, of course, You need also to consider the region where the wine is produced, the type of variety. There are some kind of grape variety that give you wines that are amazing for, longer aging process. We are talking about, when it comes about France, we're talking about Merlot, we're talking about Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Pinot Noir. When it comes about Italy, we're talking about, of course, of the prince of actually the king of the Italian grapes, which is Sangiovese. We have also Nebbiolo. And when it comes to Sangiovese, we have also different kind of expression. Again, if you want to know more about it, we have this kind of YouTube channel where you can find all of this information. We have tons of different videos and replay of the live stream we do, and it's really super. We try at least to be super informative, and you can find all of this kind of information. And there are of course some areas that are going to give you Sangiovese wines that are much more capable to age, and some other areas that are going to give you simpler Sangiovese that are not that capable to age. And that doesn't mean that those kind of areas are producing better wine. Absolutely not. That's not what I mean. But it is that each region has its own terroir expression. And what do we mean by terroir? Terroir, it's a French word. It's a fancy French word that they invented to describe the relationship between the climate of a certain region, geology of a certain area, of a certain soil, topography of a vineyard. Even the topography, the exposition of a vineyard plays such an important role in the wine production. And last but not least, the human factor, the choice that the winemaker, the enologist, the vigneron, whatever, all these kind of people choose in the entire path of production will affect so much the final result in terms of wine. So it is what it is. I mean, there are simpler wine that are not really capable of a long aging process. There are anyway very good quality wine. So it's just the personal characteristic of each every single type of wine. So of course, I hope you enjoyed this little chat that we had today. Again, don't forget about next week. We're going to have a super guest, and actually, I mean, I'm so proud of this Wine Thursday Q&A thing, because lately, I mean, we started with this kind of new format, and since we started, we had all amazing guests. I mean, we had just amazing guests. We had the Davide Dalterio, that is the sommelier of Enoteca Pinchiorri, which is one of the most famous wine restaurants of the entire world. We had Irina Romanov, again, the digital sommelier, as she like to say. And next week, I promise you, we won't let you down. We'll have an amazing wine discussion with an amazing wine professional figure. So again, thank you so much. And don't forget, of course, to take a look to our YouTube channel if you want. Don't forget also to take a look to our blog on our website, www.montemaggio.com. And for whatever necessity, don't, of course, hesitate to write to us. We are always here for you, and we love to interact with people. We really adore to be with people. I mean, as we always said, I mean, hospitality, for instance, is our one of our greatest passion, and we really adore communicate with people and share. Wine, it's all about love and passion, and if you don't share it, I mean, it will not be. I mean, it's something that you had the necessity to share. So thank you so much, and see you next time. Ciao.